Right, that looks pretty good. Nice. Cool. So, Wander Year intro episode. It's so weird talking to a camera. I mean, I think this is now the 8th take, and it's just different. But I'm excited. I'm assuming that I'll get used to it. But I'm super excited about what is to come. So, kind of what I want to do for this episode is go through where I come from, where I am now, and then talk about where the inspiration for this vlog came from and what I hope to get out of it, as well as like kind of what you guys might expect to see. So just starting right off, I'm from a family of 10, so it's mom, dad, and then there's 8 kids. There's my sister, she's the oldest, she's 24, and then me, and then 6 younger brothers all the way down to the youngest, who's 7. So growing up was interesting, to say the least, but looking back on it now, I'm just so thankful for it, and I love my family to no end. But that was kind of the dynamic growing up, and just kind of jumping to what brought me here. So when I graduated high school, I just kind of, I don't know, I was really into fishing senior year, and I knew my cousin who lives down here in South Florida. I knew that he commercially fished, and at the time, you know, I just felt like that was the move. So I reached out to him, and he was like, yeah, dude, come on, like come fish with me. So I moved down here in the end of 2015, and I've been here ever since. But as far as the fishing and, you know, when I went from fishing to welding, what kind of that transition. So living in a new area where, you know, a select amount of family members, and that's it, you know, going to that situation with no money, learning how to be an adult, and on top of that making no money, it made for a tough time. So I was fortunate enough to meet a guy at a fish house when we were weighing up fish, and he was saying that they were looking for iron workers. And for those that don't know, ironworking is kind of bolting and welding together beams and columns to make steel structure for buildings, so that when hurricanes come, they don't collapse. But yeah, so I got in with that, completely new to it and completely green. It was a year and a half that I was with that company, and yeah, taught myself how to weld, taught myself just the ins and outs of construction in general. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. And so moving from there, I got a call from a guy that I used to work with at the ironworking company. He had quit to work for another company as a welder, because welding is an aspect of ironworking, but it's definitely not even the majority of ironworking. It's just kind of one of those things that you have to be able to do. He called me like it's actually like just perfect timing. It was right as soon as I was like ready to leave the company I was with for just various reasons. He called me and was like, hey, they're looking for welders. I know, you know, you like welding and you're good at it. Like, if you want it, come on, you know. And there was a lot of benefits with that, and a lot of incentive to do that, to make that move. So I went for it, and so it started off with, there was 3 of us, me and 2 other guys, and then now it's just me. So yeah, it's just nuts, but it's super cool. The job security is obviously there, being by myself, which is nice. It's been interesting. It's been a ride. Learned a lot, taught myself a lot. I don't know, the confidence level of just welding in general, and like making decisions and being able to do all that is like, it's gone from nothing to like, you know, I'm pretty much there. So, which is really cool. But that's kind of my situation now, and it's interesting, like looking back, because it'll be 4 years that I've been down here in a couple weeks, and that's just crazy. But thinking back on just making that transition, it's difficult, you know, and especially moving. I mean, fortunately, I had people around me that I knew family members and stuff. So when I didn't have anything to do or anyone to hang out with, like I had people I could hang out with. But man, making that transition from being, you know, living with your parents and not having to make really much of any responsible decisions, and to like having to be financially responsible and make decisions like that you have to think about, it's crazy, but it's awesome, and I've learned a lot, and I'm super blessed, and I'm just glad that I made the move, and I went with my gut, because like it's been really, really cool. But yeah, so that's kind of a little bit about me and where I'm from and all that. So I guess moving on, where this vlog came from. So I've been listening to a podcast. It's called the Stokecast. What it basically is there's two hosts, and they interview professional adventurers. I don't know if that's even a thing, but we could call it that. But people that are like mountain climbing, rock climbing, bouldering, cyclists, runners, just professional like social media influencers, photographers, videographers, like just people like that, like the outdoor people. They talk about like where they came from and how they got to where they are. And I started listening to that, and I was like, man, that sounds awesome. I would love to do that. But man, Florida is just not the place for that. It's flat. It's really flat, and there's really, unless you like swamps, like there's just nothing. As far as like nature and mountains and stuff like that go, there's just really nothing here. And that led to, man, if I'm being just completely honest, it led to a really, really depressed state. And just, man, wishing that I wasn't so like tied down financially, and also and just a couple other aspects of my life, but just wishing that I was able to pursue that. It was like 2 weeks that I was really, really down about it, but for some reason I kept listening to this podcast, which was making me depressed, but it was also inspiring at the same time. It just kind of hit me one day, and I was like, well, I can be sad about this, or I can like find a way to make the most of it. So that's kind of where this vlog came from. The idea is that I'm going to be making the most of my situation here in Florida while I'm here, and just documenting it, so that way down the road, when life gets tough, I'm able to kind of go back and, I don't know, look at it and just realize like, man, there's just so much more in the broad scheme of things going on that I don't know. It's nice to be able to like look at like legitimate evidence and say that like I'm very blessed, you know, because sometimes when I get like that, it's hard for me to like stay grounded and realize that like there's just a lot more going on that I need to be thankful for, you know. So that's kind of where the idea came from. The title, The Wander Year, where that kind of comes into play. So I'm going to be like consciously taking this next year, or I guess this next like year, so 2020, the year of 2020, and just really being intentional about making the most of it, specifically in travel. And so every 2 months, minimum of 2 months, I'm going to make sure that I take off time from work and travel somewhere and explore new places. This vlog is a way for me to be intentional about it and really push myself to find my passions and what it is going forward that drives me. Because I don't know, through the years you kind of get into this like mundane state where every day is the same, and I don't know, I feel like I've lost that like drive in me to like do something that I really love to do. And so this vlog is kind of a way for me to more or less motivate myself to do that. So I have a dog, Riley. She's a pit bull terrier. So one of the things that I'm hoping to be able to do is take her on these trips. And one of the things that like I'm hoping that you guys will be able to see is her grow, because she's a great dog and she's awesome and I love her, but she's a puppy. I mean, she's still a puppy. She's a little over a year and a half, and she just has a lot of learning to do, which is totally cool, and I'm excited to like even see that myself. In like 3 weeks, I think it's 3 weeks, I'm going up to Blue Ridge for a weekend, like literally driving up, going there Saturday. I'm leaving on a Friday, driving up, going there Saturday, driving back. Like just gonna be there and back. But I'm definitely gonna be taking Riley with me. But for places that like I'm flying, it's gonna be a little tough, but I'd love to be able to figure that out. So for those that follow along, like just I hope that you fall in love with Riley as much as I do. I know you will, because she's freaking adorable. But what else is worth mentioning? What do I hope to get out of this? I've thought a lot about why I'm doing this, and even more so than kind of what was already said about pushing myself. But I feel like there aren't many platforms for people to be, I don't know, maybe I haven't looked into it enough, but I just feel like there's not enough people out there that are just open and honest about their lives and kind of the ins and outs of what it's like to struggle with certain things. I come from a pretty like tough situation, and like as this vlog progresses, I'm hoping to be able to open up about like my situation and like my story and like how I got from there to being where I am now, you know. And I just think that like that alone can speak to a lot of people, and I hope that, like, I guess my real hope is that this inspires people to, like, follow their passions, and if something comes up in their mind or their hearts, or it's like, you know, I feel like that'd be really cool. You know, I'd really like to do that. Like, just do it, you know, and like do what you can to do it at least, because I know not everything's possible, but like in some way, shape, or form, pursue those passions, because like I've just been pushing this off for a while. I feel like, and I'm finally at a point where it's like, all right, it's time to do something, because that feeling of being stagnant is just not, it's not enjoyable. So I'm really hoping that this, if nothing else, inspires people to, I don't know, just do what makes them happy. My life isn't the most interesting thing, but I feel like there's enough that goes on throughout my like day that I can like seriously like have some good camera time conversation, because I'm not talking to anyone in particular, but I don't really have a like agenda as far as how often I want to push one of these out, but I'm thinking like at least once a month, because there's only so much I can talk about. But it'd be a cool series, like, and even for me too, to be able to see like starting here and then at the end of next year, you know, where that takes me, you know, and just to see the adventures that I go on, and see Riley grow, and see myself grow, and find passions and stuff like that. So, and I'd love to just be able to fill the people that want to be involved, and just, I don't, not even involved or invested, but just that want to follow along. I'd love to fill them in, because I don't know, I feel like I love seeing, even just me personally, I love seeing people succeed, and I feel like this is going to be a really successful year for me, and I would love to be able to share that with those that want to be shared with. So I'm going to be filming this trip to Blue Ridge, and yeah, it's going to be great. And I got a GoPro, and there's actually, the person I bought it from on OfferUp, there's like a dog harness thing with a mount on it, so I'm going to try that out. I don't really know like how Riley's going to do with it, but it'd be really interesting to see like dog's perspective. I don't know, but there's a trail I'm going to in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Georgia. It's like a 9-hour trip, so it's going to be interesting. But and the other thing too is I'm really getting into photography, and I'm trying to like teach myself, and I don't know, be able to express myself through photography. So that's kind of another aspect of like something, if you wanted to follow along on social media or whatever, like you'll be able to see, I don't know, my style develop through photography, as well as vlogging and taking videos and editing and stuff like that, because it's all going to be a learning process. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I can only assume that it's going to get better. I would highly doubt it's going to get any worse, but I'm hoping that you guys are like in it with me, for those that are, because it's going to be super fun. So I think that's it. That's the intro. I don't even know, like, how do you end this? Just like